For all my bald brothers out there. Tony James, I do the morning show on 1250 WTMA. In a couple of years, I had a caller call in. His name was Jerome Smalls. And Jerome was telling me about, Jerome's a very passionate man. And Jerome and I have disagreements on some things, and we have agreements on many other things. But we always put humanity before ideology. We always remember that there's a person on the other side of that phone, and we always try to be respectful to each other. And he was telling me about this man that I had never heard of before, named James Jamerson. Like I said, I'd never heard of James before, so while I had Jerome on the phone, I started to Google James Jamerson. What I found out made my jaw drop. You, like me at that time, may have never heard of James Jamerson. But I guarantee you that you have heard his work. Because James Jamerson played bass on the soundtrack of your life. Literally. Let me read from Wikipedia. A native of South Carolina, born in Edisto, Jamerson's discography at Motown reads as a catalog of soul hits of the 1960s and early 1970s. His work includes hits such as, among hundreds of others, You Can't Hurry Love by the Supremes, My Girl by the Temptations, Shotgun by Junior Walker and the All-Stars, For Once in My Life and I Was Made for Loving Her by Stevie Wonder, Going to a Go-Go by the Miracles, Dancing in the Street by Martha and the Vandellas, I Heard It Through the Grapevine by Gladys Knight and the Pips and later by Marvin Gaye, and on most of Marvin Gaye's album, What's Going On. Reach Out, I'll Be There, and Bernadette by the Four Tops. He is reported to have played on nearly every Motown recording between 1963 and 1968. That includes over 60 top 15 pop singles. Jamerson performed on 23 #1 pop hits on the pop charts, a record narrowly surpassed only by Paul McCartney and the Beatles, who cites James Jamerson as an influence, and he performed on 56 #1 hits on the R&B charts. So you can see why he is regarded as one of the most influential bass players of all time. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2000. In its special issue, the 100 Greatest Bass Players, in 2017, Bass Player magazine ranked Jamerson #1. And in 2011, they named him the most influential bassist of all time. James was the inspiration for most of the great players, bass players that you know today. But the irony is, these people who were influenced by James Jamerson didn't even know his name. In fact, James Jamerson went nameless for most of his career because music labels did not include session players on the albums until 1971. Amen. Imagine that. Being the greatest bass player of all time and no one even knows your name. Unfortunately, that trend continues today. Despite the effort of friends, family, state and local legislators, governors, and myself, James Jamerson has still not been inducted into the South Carolina Hall of Fame. It's a travesty. And it's a shame. How can you truly call yourself a Hall of Fame when the picture of James Jamerson does not grace your walls? If James Jamerson doesn't belong in the South Carolina Hall of Fame, then who does? The answer? If James Jamerson doesn't belong in the South Carolina Hall of Fame, nobody does. James Jamerson's music transcends generations. It transcends race. It transcends culture. It transcends borders, language, and it transcends time itself. His music will ring through the ether for all eternity. But what we can do here, what we can do now, on this soil, on his home soil, is to make sure that his name is remembered forever. It is my incredible pleasure tonight to present the North Star Award on behalf of the Charleston County Republican Party to James's cousin, Anthony McKnight, and the Jamerson family.
Good afternoon. What can I say? I returned to Charleston I moved back to South Carolina back in 1998. And I moved to my wife's hometown of Palm Island. And so we decided to go explore Myrtle Beach. That's when I found the South Carolina Hall of Fame. Like, hey, let's go in there. So I'm looking through all the pictures and all the inductees and all that. So when I got to Dizzy Gillespie, I said, finally, the musician part of it. I didn't see James. That hurt. So I've been fighting now the Hall of Fame for the past 23 years to try to get James into the Hall of Fame. And like Charlie said, you know, I've had Governor Nikki Haley to give me a letter of recommendation. I've had the South Carolina State Senate to give me a resolution, the South Carolina House of Representatives to give me a resolution. Governor Mike Huckabee gave me a recommendation. I had a letter from Berkeley School of Music for a recommendation. A letter from Motown Records. All of that just fell on deaf ears, and I just don't understand why. I honestly don't. But right now, I do have a GoFundMe account, because what I'm trying to do is get James a brand new headstone. He needs a headstone. He only has a gravestone, a grave marker. But you can just go to GoFundMe.com, Charleston Jameson Project. You find us there. And I hope, along with this award, will help us do what we need to do for James and give him the honor that he deserves here in his own home state. Thank you for this award.